thank you. Just thank you. You're amazing people. Why do I say that? Because I was a carer for about 4 years. My mum died 2 months ago. She had progressive dementia, and it was a fantastic experience, and that's hard to say. I had a history lesson every day, and my mum was not a history teacher. I was the history teacher, but my mum gave me a history lesson every single day. It was quite amazing. But how did this impact on me? How did this impact on me? As I say, I was thinking about a title for this, and I called it Dementia, My Friend. How many people could call dementia their friend? My mum was diagnosed 5 years ago, and in that 5 years, my health decreased. I've been in hospital lots of times. I've had a hemorrhage, a brain hemorrhage. I've had a pulmonary embolism. I've fractured my face. But always, my mum has been there for me. And she's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It ended up, I basically had to give up school. And I went down to 2 days a week. But I was working with my mum 7 days a week, 3 times a day. This was before we had the diagnosis of dementia. And it was hard. It was very, very hard. But if it wasn't for people like you, it would have been much, much more difficult. One of the things that happened was that Paul Nichols invited me to come on a course. And that course was an 8-week course all about dementia. I knew nothing about dementia. I thought I was all alone. Nobody got dementia except my family. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to turn to. And if it wasn't for this course, I would have struggled big time. And in that 8 weeks, I got to learn about how to approach dementia and how to approach my mum. My mum was cantankerous. She lost her self-esteem. She lost the ability to recognise me. She didn't know who I was, and that was the hardest thing that ever happened during this time. But I would sort of sit there with her, and we'd have fun. We'd have a laugh. She'd be saying things that, were totally sort of untrue, and I would say, "Okay, Mum, not a problem." Except one thing. I had to take her money away from her because she was wandering the streets, and she would spend a fortune on a loaf of bread. She'd go up the shop with a £5 note, got a loaf of bread and came back. "Where's your money gone, Mum?" "I haven't spent it." "Well, where's it gone?" "I don't know. You didn't give me any," she said. And she basically went on about me being a miser because I wouldn't give her any money. Now that's wrong. I did give her money, but I had to sort of make sure that she was spending it properly. It was funny. It was hard. When you see your mum on a commode, left on a commode by a carer, you then say to yourself, "Hold on a minute, I've got to do something about this." So I gave up work completely, and every day, 3 times a day, either myself or my wife went to sort my mum out. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the nicest thing I've ever done because I got to know my mum. And if it wasn't for the social services and Cress and all of the people in Coventry, I would have, as I said, I would have struggled big time. So how did it help me? How did Cress and the social services and the Carers Trust and how did this help me? Well, it's inspired me. It was great for my mum because I managed to take her out for meals, meeting other people with like-minded sort of conditions. We had a care provider that came in 3 times a day, and they were great. But there was something missing. And that thing was they were treating a human being. And I felt perhaps that was missing because of government constraints and what have you. How did it help me? Brilliant. I went on courses. I went to meetings with like-minded people. I went to Coventry University and did more work on dementia. I've continued to do lots of work on dementia. I'm researching it, and maybe that's a book, Dementia, My Friend, I don't know. How did this sort of impact on the whole family? And how did it sort of help me to spread the word a little bit? A young lad down here called Terry Cassidy, who I met on one of the courses, had similar problems to I. And he was with his wife all the time. And meeting people like Terry and meeting people on these courses, it gave you the sort of the confidence and the ideas to actually sort of spread the word. It was amazing because I even got the kids from school to come and see my mum and look after my mum. And they loved it. So that was absolutely fantastic. But there are certain things that are very, very important. Such areas like powers of attorney, the diagnosis of dementia. Getting hold of that powers of attorney was important because I would have had no power to help my mum in any way, shape or form. The diagnosis was difficult. It was a long, arduous process. But once it came, it opened up everything. Social services, different things, different meetings, opportunities, etc., etc. But my mum always said that she would never go into a home. And I respected that. And that's the one thing that, in the end, sort of caused more problems than not. We were in a situation whereby she started to fall. She started to poo herself all the time. She was incontinent. It was hard. And it was the hospital that then said, you know, she must go into a home. So we found a residential home, and they were brilliant. But the one thing about this residential home was that because there were lots of people around, my mum got better. You could see her getting better, giving her the confidence to talk to people, etc., etc. Although she would talk about, you know, a load of rubbish half the time, she did it with passion, and that was really important. I would just like to say thank you to everybody here, and I'd like to say thank you on behalf of all carers, because without you, we would be in a bit of a jam. And looking at those projects and the skills from the volunteering that you talked about is amazing. So many, many thanks, and let's keep up the good work.